Go for questions. Okay, Kennedy.
I guess we were asking Woody a lot about the pitching staff and kind of some of the shakeups there. With Taylor and him starting today, what kind of things have you seen from him out of the bullpen, and maybe what could make him a successful starter?
I thought he's been good. He's been pretty good for us all year. Excited for him to get an opportunity to come out there and start the game. But of course, he's going to have to come out and do it.
Think he needs to do to be able to, I guess, successfully stay in the rotation?
I don't know if there's anything he necessarily needs to do, but it's obvious. Come out and do his thing. What Taylor does, put up zeros. That'll be good.
Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
Jared.
Jose, I'm sorry, my connection broke, so if Kennedy just asked this, I apologize. I'm curious, what is the growth you've seen from Taylor specifically from the last couple years that's allowed him to have the type of year he's had this year?
Mm-hmm. Just the confidence in his pitches, attacking the strike zone, and being able to use his heater as much as he does. It's pretty impressive how he can just throw his fastball up there and guys swing and miss at it, and he gets a lot of strikeouts with it. But for him to work on other pitches and develop that way, I think it's been pretty impressive.
Talked in the past about controlling his emotions and not letting an inning snowball. If he walks the leadoff hitter or something, what sort of role do you as a catcher have in that dynamic with the pitcher? Whether it's Taylor or just generally speaking, how can you help out in that situation, and what are the things you can do to help the pitcher when you maybe see something that's not physical that needs to be straightened out?
You keep reminding him how good he is, no matter what happens. Hearn's got capability to if he walks the bases loaded, he can probably punch out 3 hitters. And just to keep instilling that confidence in him, keep pushing on him. Hey, attack strike zone, that kind of stuff. Because this stuff is good enough. Guys, he can throw fastballs down the middle, and guys are going to swing and miss. That's what's good about Hearn, is that he can attack with his fastball. Off speed's really good, and if anything happens, he can bounce back from that.
Thanks, Jose.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions for Jose? Levi.
Okay, so building on that, I'm curious how important it is to build trust beforehand. So, for instance, if my mom tells me she likes my story, that's great. You're my mom, thanks. But if a writer that I trust and respect tells, hey, that was a great story, that means something else. There's more confidence that comes from that. How much work has to go in to before that meeting on the mound, where you're reminding a pitcher how good they are?
That's before. That's way before. That's spring training stuff, to where it's hey, you need to understand how good your stuff is to where you can attack the strike zone. And even if guys need reminders here and there, and that's when I come into play. If something's shaking up, I go out there and I'm hey, come on, remember who you are, remember how good you are, keep attacking the strike zone.
So that happens, and that's part of the process of spring training for you, is to kind of build those relationships.
Yeah, and I have him in the off season too. I get to catch him in the off season, so familiar with it, familiar with some of his pitches, and we just go from there.
Gotcha. Thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie, you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Sorry about that. Adjusting to different teams here. Just Jose, the emotion of seeing Andrus back, and I know that you guys really got along well when he was here. Big night for you offensively, and really for the team collectively. How does that set you up for this series?
It's good. A's are a good team, and if you can jump out ahead of them, win a game, especially the first one of the series, that's huge for us. As for Elvis being back, it's cool. The fans embrace it. It was a good moment, especially to be behind the plate for that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Levi.
I feel like catchers often think like coaches or managers, and so I wanted to get your take on this. As you look, not so much at the pitching staff, but at the offense, and you see a group of guys that are, most of you for the first time, having a full-time job at big leagues. I was curious, what sort of development have you seen, or progress have you seen? And you can feel free to pick 1 or 2 guys, or speak in more general terms if you want, but growth from the offense.
I mean, I said it last night. Like being in big situations, being in key situations, whether we fail or succeed, like we're learning from it, and I think that's huge. For me, as a young team, it's better to. I'm not gonna say it's better to lose close games. You want to win every single game, but like those games where you have to be in it every single pitch. Those are good. Like that's really good for a young team. That's what you want. You want everybody to have a key at bat in every situation that they can. You want everybody to make a key play in every situation that they can. So for me, like on the development side, like I think we're getting really good at that, to where like the big moments are starting to be, not so big moments to us, but obviously they're big moments in the game, to where it's just like a normal at bat for us, and we go and we attack with our plan, and we go from there. But for me, I think it's been good, and like you said, some of the guys, this is the first time plenty of us have had like a full-time job, as you would call it. But I think we're definitely taking those strides forward.
Talking to Isaiah yesterday, he talked about being in the leadoff spot and how one of the things that he's still trying to learn is how to slow the game down.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about Elvis and AB and these guys who would chew. To be in the league this long, they've really had to slow the game down. Is that kind of what he's talking about, as you understand it? Like just have to be in those big positions?
Definitely.
Sort of,
Definitely, 100%. And you get advice from guys that have been through it. You got guys like Charlie's had a few, big moments in his career. A few walk-off hits, a few, key base hits. He's been in playoffs. I mean, he's done it all. That's a good guy's brain to pick. And I mean, Brock Holt's been in it. These are guys that you can ask, like, hey, what do you do in this situation? How you feel in this situation? And they'll tell you. They're an open book, and they're great about it. Like it's like, hey, try thinking about this or try doing this. And I think, for them to be able to share that with us, that's growing too, and that's helping everybody.
right on. Thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.